All right, we're gonna do a rainy day truck talk video, and this is this video is gonna be on bulking because I've had guys ask me about going through a bulk or how I put on size a little quicker. In the summertime, I cut weight way down just to look good for the summer, like we do. And then as the cooler months come around, that's when I start to try to put some weight on. It's a little bit different for me because if I decide that I'm going to compete in the summertime or springtime and I need to put some weight on, I'll do a bulk then. But generally speaking, I like to lose some weight in the summertime, gain some weight in the wintertime. And then the longer you do it, the less weight you're gonna cut down to a higher weight as you go. So if I cut down to 210 in the summertime, and then maybe next year I'm only cutting down to like 215 because I'm putting some size on, putting some muscle on. The main thing that I tell guys all the time, I've had guys come to me and say, hey, how do you put size on quick, or how are you putting size on in general? And number one thing is eating, the nutrition side of it. Younger guys can get away with eating a little bit sloppier food, being a little bit dirtier about their bulk. For me, it's just knowing the amount of calories that I burn a day through my workout and through just your day in general versus how much food your caloric intake. In order to bulk, you need to be at a surplus. So if you're burning 1,500 calories a day, you need to be at least 2,000 calories for your intake so that you're not burning everything off. Your body's continuing to have some fuel in the tank. Whereas a cut, you'd be at a caloric deficit. So if you're cutting weight, you would burn more calories than you intake in the day. And then there's like a neutral zone where you're burning your intake. They're the same. So for me, if I eat 2,500 calories a day just throughout the year in general, and kind of my neutral spot after I do my cut or after I do my bulk and I'm happy with the weight that I'm at, then I would just coast at kind of a neutral zone. Right now, I'm packing on some weight. I'm trying to get bigger. That's my goal right now. So I'm doing my best to just eat everything under the sun, and it gets a little bit uncomfortable at times. Sometimes you're done eating and it's time to eat again. You get that tight stomach and you feel bloated, and then as soon as you come down off of it, it's time for the next meal. So the weight training for me is heavier. I train heavier in the a higher weight with lower reps through the bulk. And I'm trying to put on size. I'm trying to build that strength. Whereas in the cutting season, I might cut my calories back and do higher reps, maybe more slow and controlled higher reps with lower weight. The big thing is that nobody wants to do is the nutrition side of it, the meals. You got to eat. If you're going to get big, you got to eat big. Everyone says it. Everyone's heard it. That's the rules. There's no way around it. You can't supplement for it. Guys that take steroids, they'll even tell you can't just not eat. If you don't eat, then you're just pissing your money away. You're not going to gain any size. My goal is like that anywhere from like 235 to 250 weight at 6'1". It's not a bad weight. My good feeling comfortable walking around weight is like 220. In the summer or in the winter time, I do feel like a little bit out of shape. I feel good, super strong. Cardio's not great. But it's just, it all comes in, the play comes to, for the bulk, knowing what your workouts are and knowing what your caloric intake is. And your caloric intake has to be higher than the fuel burnt so that your body can continue to hold that fuel and maintain the ability to keep gaining weight. You're gonna gain a little bit of weight in fat. You're gonna gain a little bit of weight in water. You're gonna gain a little bit of weight in muscle. But it's part of the process. So for me, it's like 4 to 6 meals a day, and which is pretty typical for me, but those the amount of calories per meal is a little higher when I'm bulking. And I will eat a little bit sloppier, a little shittier foods through the through my bulking time, just in order to help get the weight on. And 3,500 calories of chicken and rice a day fucking blows. Nobody wants to do that. It's fucking boring. Tastes like shit eventually. And it's pretty routine to just wake up, eat a handful of eggs, have a protein shake, carbs before the workout, making sure your water intake's good, and more chicken and rice throughout the day. That shit gets boring. So if you're trying to put on some size, just let loose a little bit. Go to Chipotle, get something. Slide through the drive-thru, get something. I wouldn't recommend doing that for every meal every day, but it's a little bit easier to get away with cheating on a meal when you're going through that bulking process. So if you want to, say, just as example, you're 210 right now and you need to be 220 and you've got so long to do it, you need to calculate what the types of exercise you're doing and the amount of food that you're going to take in. And if you weigh yourself a week later and you haven't put on any weight, then you're probably burning more calories than you're eating, and you're going to have to up that food, and it's going to feel uncomfortable and it's going to suck, but it's part of the process. Everyone that asks me about the bulking process, the number one rule is you got to eat. You have to eat. The workouts are good, sleep's good, water's good, but the main thing is the nutrition. I've got a buddy that's like super small, like 150, 160, and his complaint is, I just can't put on any weight. I can promise you that if you are that small and you can't put on any weight, it's because you're not eating enough, period. Or maybe you should go to the doctor. Maybe you have like cancer or something, but he doesn't. He's been to the doctor. There's no issues. It's just, he's not eating enough. And he's like, I swear I am. I'm eating fucking 90,000 calories a day, which is not true. So I'm like, every time you eat, text it to me. And lo and behold, I mean, he's at like 1,200 calories a day. And he's not an inactive dude. So I'm like, you're just burning a shit ton of calories. You're not eating near enough. You got to pack the food in. So I said, bump it up to 2,000 calories a day once your body starts getting comfortable with that. Because if you're going from 1,200 to 2,000, you're going to feel like shit for a little bit. Once your body gets used to it, bump it up to 2,200. Once your body gets used to that, bump it up to 2,400. And then for him, the bulking process is going to be a lot different. It's going to be, he's going to have to carry it a lot longer because the size he wants to be. I mean, he's pushing 6 foot tall and he's just a beanstalk. So you got to keep adding that food in to keep getting bigger. and you might be a year into the process. I recommend that you're going to your doctor, talking to your doctor, getting your blood work checked out and shit like that, just to make sure that whatever foods you're eating, supplements you're taking, workouts you're doing, stuff like that is all good to go. And if it's not, talk to your doctor. Hopefully you got a good enough doctor where you can be honest with them, tell them what you're doing, tell them what your game plan is, and they can help make suggestions. At the end of the day, you got to eat big to get big. That's just number one story. You'll see me by Christmas 20 pounds heavier than I am now, and I'll feel good there. And then when I cut down, it'll be cutting down to maybe 6 to 10 pounds heavier than I cut down to this year, because I'm gaining that muscle through this bulk. I'm taking the bulk seriously. I'm slowing it down a little bit, making sure my macros are where they need to be, and adding to the macros as my body gets used to it. I've done it for years. I've never had any issues. I get my blood work done every 6 months. No issues. The only issue I've ever had with blood work is I changed my diet to like 5 days worth of red meat. I was eating steak pretty much every day, and I was bored with chicken, so that was my fix, was to just eat a bunch of steak. I love steak. So went to the doctor. Blood work was a little bit jacked up. We cut it down to red meat meal once or twice a week. That's for me. It's different for everyone. If you eat steak every single day and your body takes to it well, and you go to your doctor and your blood work still looks good, then by all means, hammer down on the steak. For me, I had to go back to eating a little bit more chicken as a protein. Your protein levels should be high. Your carbs should be high, and your fats, for me, I keep fats low. And during the bulk, I'll add some fats in. I'll let myself get away with eating a little bit more fats, but it's not I don't eat shit every day. Some guys can get away with it. I'm 32 years old. Maybe at 25 years old, I could get away with eating 2 large pizzas at lunch and, a couple Chipotle burritos and Subway and shit like that. I don't feel comfortable doing it now. I don't feel healthy doing it now, and that's the biggest thing for me. I want to feel healthy. I want to feel strong. And I want to go about my day not feeling like just a slob falling out of my clothes and shit like that. If anyone has questions on my actual macros, my actual caloric intake, my workouts, anything like that, feel free to hit me up. But this is just kind of an idea for you to get started on where you want to be with the bulk, how big you want to get, and the fact that food is the most important thing. And the workouts are next. So that's it. Go out, get big. It's wintertime. Time to get fluffy. Time to feel good. Time to feel strong. Let's go.